Hey, what's up everybody, Nexel here. Today we are playing Kingdom Hearts Union Cross and we're going to be talking about the new imitation metal deal that just dropped in global either today or yesterday based on when I'm able to get this video out. So as always, we are going to be doing a banner analysis, followed by talking about the draw odds, and then finishing off with my thoughts and recommendations on whether or not I think you should be pulling from this banner. So first things first, you have until June 1st to decide if you want to pull from this at all, if you need to determine if you're going to have enough jewels to get to the Mercy. So you have 2 weeks, roughly about 2 weeks to decide if you want to do anything with this banner, and that's a lot of time to think it over. That's a lot of time to see if anything else is coming along the way, so don't feel pressed to pull right now if you don't need the medals in order to pass content that is happening right now. So 2 weeks, good amount of time to think about it. The next thing is that every single pull is going to cost only 1,500 jewels as opposed to the standard banner, which has 3,000 jewels per pull. This is always good because with all Mercy banners, the real question you want to ask yourself is, how little resources do I need to spend in order to get to the final result that I care about? In this case, the final result you care about is getting one of those stopper medals because they can be very strong. Now, in a normal banner where it's 3,000 jewels per pull and you have to pull 5 times, that's 15,000 jewels just to get the medal. In this case, the stopper medal comes after 5 pulls at 1,500 jewels apiece, so it's half the cost. You're only spending 7,500 jewels in order to get to the Mercy pull, which again is going to be a good or a bad thing based on your current game style, but we'll keep talking and then hopefully it all makes sense. So with every single pull, you're going to be getting 1 imitation medal. That is 1 copy medal per pull. Now, the main argument I've been hearing about why this isn't good is because it could be as bad as a tier 5 medal. That imitation medal could be an HD nominee. It could be a key art Sky. It could be a key art Bonds. It could be something really weak in terms of the special attack bonus department. But hear me out here, I personally don't think there's a bad copy medal. I truly think that every single one has a place. You just have to be creative in how you think about it. So let's think about those tier 5 copy medals. HD Nominee, for example. She is a forward copy medal that costs 0 gauges and has tier 5 special attack bonus, so an additional 150% bonus. Now, while that might not be good for damaging purposes, while you're likely not going to be getting a lot of leverage from copying something like a Dark Riku with Nominee, you can use it to help you buff. So if you use that tier 5 HD Nominee to copy a Kingdom Hearts 3 Nominee, you're still getting the perfect buffs. You are still getting plus 2,000 medal strength, all from a tier 5 medal, just because you use that copy medal's effect to copy the next best thing in the game. Remember that copy medals are inherently useless. They find their value in copying other things, gaining that medal's utility. So while I think that some people say, oh, you can get a tier 5 and that's really bad, I'd like to argue that it's really more about how you think about how the copy medals work, about how you use them rather than just their raw strength alone. Not just that, but copy medals can help fill a lot of different problems when it comes to restrictions. So there are restrictions that are only things like you can only use single target medals. All copy medals are single target medals, and you can use that copying effect to copy something like, again, Kingdom Hearts 3 Nominee, which hits all targets, and you can't normally cast that when the restriction is you can only cast single target medals. Not only that, but remember that copy medals come in a variety of different colors. They can be upright, they can be reverse, they can be power, they can be speed, they can be magic. Again, having more copy medals gives you more versatility. Let's say the restriction is you can only use power medals. In that case, you can't be using something like Rage Form Sora, even though it's a tier 10, even though it's a really strong copy medal, you can't use it because of the restriction. However, you can still use something like an HD Riku replica, which is a tier 8 backwards copy medal that copies the medal before it. So copy medals come in a lot of different variety. They also come as different gauge costs. We see it a lot. You can only cast medals that have a gauge cost of 5 or more. Or you can only cast medals that have a gauge cost of 1 or more. We see a lot of those restrictions, and again, copy medals get around that because they'll be able to copy things like Kingdom Hearts 3 Nominee. They'll be able to copy things that you normally can't cast because of the restrictions. So copy medals, again, it's not just about their strength. That is important. I'm not saying that Lingering Will, Rageform Sora, the Reaper, I'm not saying that they're just as good as something like a tier 5 HT Nominee, but I'm saying that anything you get out of this can be useful. You just have to figure out how to think about it. So you get 1 imitation medal per pull, and that's really, really good in my opinion. The next thing is that you're going to be getting 4 6-star or higher medals. Now, this is one of the strange things because normally it's 5-star or higher. So what I did is that I looked in the draw odds, and those are just these general medals. So the 4 6-star or higher medals are these general medals here. And one thing to note about them is that they're all Kingdom Hearts 3 medals. They're either Supernova or Kingdom Hearts 3. And that's actually really important. So as you can see here, we don't see any tier 5s. We don't see any tier 4s. Even as we move to the 6-star medals, it's all Kingdom Hearts 3 medals. And that's actually a very important point for this banner because in my opinion, having it be all Kingdom Hearts 3 medals, 4 of them, is really good. If we look at a banner like, for example, this Kingdom Hearts 3 Berserker, you're only getting 3 Kingdom Hearts 3 medals. Whereas in this banner, you are getting 4 of them. That's really important because Kingdom Hearts 3 medals, at the very least, have a tier 7. So that means when you sell those Kingdom Hearts 3 medals, if you get, let's just say you got all tier 7s for all 4 of these medals, you are at the very least making 28 draw points. You are able to sell those medals and make 28 draw points in order to pull from this banner where you're able to get a super powerful medal. That's not to say they're all going to be tier 7 anyways. You can be getting tier 8. If all 4 of these are tier 8s, you're getting 32 points for that draw banner. So not only are you getting a copy medal, which is very good based on your scenario, you are also getting 4 Kingdom Hearts 3 medals, which is great draw points fodder. The next thing is that you're going to be getting 5 VIP coins per pull. Now, this is a little bit awkward because they cut the jewel cost in half and they cut literally everything else you're getting in half. You're only getting 5 medals versus 10. You're only getting 5 VIP coins versus 10. And this is kind of strange because whenever you look at the avatar boards, all of the avatar boards that use VIP coins, they come as 10s. You have to spend 10 coins at a time. So keep that in mind that if you pull from this banner only 5 times, you're going to end up with 25 VIP coins, and 5 of those coins are more or less effectively useless. So you have to pull an even number of times in order to get the most out of the VIP coins. The next thing is that you're going to be getting 1 speed gem per pull. Now, gems are not really a hot commodity anymore. There's a lot of easy ways to get gems. You can do proud mode quests. You can do regular event quests. You can join a party that ranks high during the raiding week. You can do well in PvP. There's a lot of different ways to get gems nowadays. So this 1 gem that they offer here, while it's not the best, it's a nice little perk, but it's not a reason to pull. So all in all, this is a pretty decent setup for a banner. So again, 1,500 jewels per pull. You get 1 copy medal per pull. All 4 of those extra medals are going to be Kingdom Hearts 3 medals. So good stuff. All in all, it's a very well formatted banner in my opinion. Now, let's take a look at the draw odds because there's a lot of information actually in the draw odds that they don't really advertise that well. So let's look at the details real quick and I'll show you what I mean. Wow, look at how greatly detailed this notice was. That was so detailed and I know exactly what I'm doing. But don't worry because there's YouTubers like me that got your back. So let's go ahead and take a look at the draw odds and I'm going to point out some very important things. So remember, you get 1 imitation medal or 1 copy medal per pull. The thing that they don't really tell you is that you can get any of them, and not just any of them, you could get the featured ones early. So as you can see, that imitation medal can be the Lingering Will. It can be a Kingdom Hearts 3 Luxord. It can be a Patchwork Animals, a a Marionette. Those have been very scarcely re-released since their original banner. So it can literally be any of them. It could even be the Reaper, which was the most recent one that came out only 2 weeks ago. So the fact that you get a solid like 2% chance at getting something super OP, and then you multiply that times all the ones you'd possibly care about. So it's like, if you want the Reaper, Rageform Sora, Patchwork Animals, the Marionette, or Luxord, and you'd be happy with those, that's a 10% chance of getting something that you're happy with from a 1,500 jewel pull. That's actually really, really good in my opinion. When we think about just the tier 10s alone, so the Reaper, Rageform Sora, Patchwork Animals, Marionette, Luxord, and Lingering Will, that's roughly about a 12% chance of you getting a tier 10 copy medal right off the bat. And for 1,500 jewels, that can be a very, very good investment. So looking at the draw odds, seeing what those copy medals can be is really, really good because it lets you know what's in the pool. The next thing is that if you look at, let's see, if we look at the draw odds for the general medals. So remember that the general medals are those random 4 6-star or higher medals. One thing that you'll notice is that that is another pool of medals in which you can get these awesome copy medals. So if we scroll down, you can get Kingdom Hearts 3 Demyx, which isn't normally part of the draw odds. You can get Kingdom Hearts 3 Luxord, again, not normally part of the draw odds. Rageform Sora, Lingering Will, Kingdom Hearts 3 Reaper. The more medals that exist in the pool, that increases your chance of getting something that you care about, rather than the previous banners where it's like, oh, you're just going to get some weird tier 9 supernova, or oh, you're going to get all the supernovas up until this point, but nothing beyond that. So there's a lot of extra supernovas in this that aren't normally available, and again, that increases your odds of getting something that you want. Now, the big thing to notice here, well, another big thing, this is all a lot of big stuff to be honest. The big thing to notice, or one big thing to notice, is that the stopper medal, so the medal you get after 5 pulls, is not limited to what's shown here. So we're showing Rageform Sora, the Lingering Will, and the Reaper. But if you go to the stopper medals, there's a chance you can get Angelic Amber and Kingdom Hearts 3 Lee, which are very readily available from all the banners normally, or Demyx, which is also not as good, or Luxord. So just keep in mind that while they only feature these 3 medals, there are 7 total medals that you could potentially be getting, with 2 of them being very easily available through things like other pulls. So keep that in mind, that your Mercy pull is not limited to the 3 that are shown to you. And that's a very important note, because some people, like when we were talking about it during the live stream 2 days ago, we were talking about how, oh, if it comes automatically with Lingering Will, Rageform Sora, or the Reaper on that 5th pull, that's broken. But the fact that they added things like Angelic Amber, Kingdom Hearts 3 Lee, Kingdom Hearts 3 Demyx makes it a lot worse, actually a lot worse than what we were originally predicting. So what are my thoughts and recommendations on this banner? Honestly, it's still a really good deal. 1,500 jewels, you're getting minimum 24 draw points, you're getting a copy medal, which again is always going to be useful. You just have to think about how to use it. So while it is true that the Reaper, Lingering Will, Rageform Sora, these are all fantastic copy medals, they're the best copy medals out, that's not to say the other ones are useless. Copy medals are only as good as the medal that you are using them to copy. So that's my spiel. Copy medals always good. Literally, the Leviathan event, let me show you what setup I used to beat it. So if we go to my Sleeping Lion, and the Leviathan event was literally a recent event. So what I used is, and I beat it in 2 turns using this setup. I used a Rageform Sora copy medal, and then I used a tier 8. I used a tier 8 HD Riku replica because it had extra attack on it, and I got the effect of Dark Riku an additional 2 times. That means for a turn, I'm gaining an additional 2 turn plus 6,000 speed metal strength. By turn 2, that tier 8 HD Riku replica was netting me an additional 12,000 speed metal strength by copying the Dark Riku. Yes, that Riku replica did not do any damage whatsoever. Even if it landed a critical hit, it did 1 damage to the enemy. But I got the effect multiple times of the Dark Riku, and that was the important part. So yeah, it's an outdated copy medal, but again, it's about how you use them. It's not just about how strong they are or how weak they are. Another thing is that you should pull based on what you're looking for. So for example, if we look at my medal list, and if we look at my imitation medals, I've got a lot. So I won't benefit from this as much as someone who has 0. So I have Rageform Sora, Luxord, Lingering Will, Patchwork Animals. I've got 7 Kingdom Hearts 3 Lees, 4 Angelic Ambers, 4 HD Vanitases. So because I have all these copy medals, pulling from this banner isn't going to be as useful to me as it will be a new player. So remember that you have the draw odds available to you. You know exactly what your percentages are when you pull. And all you got to do is just add them up. So if we look at the draw odds here, let's just say we're looking at the random 1 copy medal you're getting. If you really want Key Art Sky, Bonds, or Beginning because it's some of the best artwork in this entire game, you get a solid, like, what is that, 2%, 4%, 6%, that's 6% right there. But not just that, you probably also want some of the newer ones too. So if you want Lingering Will, that brings it up to 8%. If you want Demix, that brings it up to 10%. Marionette, Patchwork Animals, Rageform Sora, Reaper, that brings you up to 18%. That means every pull is like an 18% chance of something you want. So just do the math. It takes only a little bit. Just grab a calculator, just add it all up and say, all right, I want these medals. These are my odds of getting them. Do I feel comfortable with these odds? And if the answer is yes, then pull. It's totally okay to do so. Now, one thing that I want people to notice about this banner and the things that came with it is that there are no ways to get traits for some of these medals. So if we look at the trait shop, or if we go to items, we only have a trait pack available for the Reaper and for Lingering Will. That means even if you get Rageform Sora, which is a tier 10 copy medal, you have to find a different way to get traits for him. So unless you had him saved up from a previous time, or unless you're rich and you buy VIP and you're totally okay with spending the jewels to get them, it's going to be very, very hard to trait any of those medals. That means no extra attack. That means no ground enemy defense minus 60%. So just keep that in mind that there's only traits available for the Reaper and the Lingering Will. If we go to the avatar boards, and again, all you see is the Reaper and Lingering Will. I don't know why they didn't bring back like the trait boards and stuff for Angelic Amber or Kingdom Hearts 3 Lee or even Rageform Sora, which was actually significantly more recent than any of those. But that's one of the big things. So even if you get Rageform Sora, which is among the best copy medals, you gotta find a different way to trait them. Remember that the traits stick with the copy medal. So even if you're copying like a Dark Riku, it uses the traits of the copy medal. So copying a Dark Riku with a Rageform Sora with no traits on it is pretty much effectively just a buffer at that point. So just keep that in mind, that traits are only available for the Lingering Will and the Reaper. That is really my biggest problem with this banner. But otherwise, I think it's a really solid deal. Again, a lot of people who don't have a lot of copy medals will benefit from it. People like me, if I'm pulling, I'm just pulling for fun because it's only 1,500 jewels and that helps me stack up points for the draw points banner. But yeah, that's my full analysis on this. Again, it's a good banner, but there are a few things that you need to pay attention to. The stopper medal is not guaranteed one of those tier 10s. The trait boards only show up for 2 of those tier 10s anyways. So that's just things I want you to keep in mind. Hopefully this was helpful. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave them down in the comments below and I'd be happy to answer when I have the time. If you'd like to join my Discord, get some additional off-camera help, the link is right down there in that box. Unfortunately, YouTube doesn't allow me to make my own links in the video itself, so you're gonna have to type it in. But with that being said, that's the end of this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, until next time, take it easy.